deny because he did pop a lot of his bottle charges and even a power shot. Man, Funnick has just got this guy's number here.
Yeah, that was a spite power shot. Not really going to do too much aside from harass.
Is he farming this camp on purpose? He is, I think.
He's trying to take it down with power shot just because he has the regen rune.
Oh, that is pretty cool. So takes a bunch of CS there. Dendy back to the mid lane now, level 7. Refraction's maxed out. He's going to spot out Satyr. Gets a little scared. Or at least Moo is like, hey, let's kill this guy.
Yeah, Moo actually has to be levels. Has to have his ultimate up before they can do anything. The Elder Dragon form actually at level 1 does really good work against Dendy's refraction.
Yeah.
So anytime that's up, they can actually attempt a gank on him, provided a dust is there.
Well, let's take a look at the hero levels at least. Let's see how the supports are matching up against each other. Dendy is still level 7 versus Moo despite his death on the mid lane. It's because he has so many extra denies. The carries are just about the same level, and most importantly, the bottom supports are actually, the bottom heroes are actually the offlane for Navi as well as the Treant Protector. So Navi is slightly behind in EXP, it's looking like. Yeah, and the Radiant does have a slight advantage here. So gold is just fine, so neither team really has a major laning advantage, but we'll see how this game rolls out in the mid game.
Yeah, that's skewed as well, though, just because if you have a jungle hero like Enchantress in general, she's going to get essential free farm.
Yep.
Like, she's going to get solo experience and everything, so the experience graph is a little bit misleading, to say the least.
Yeah. So Funnick on the bot lane, still 4, about to pick up 5 at least. How, again, actually goes phase boots this game, so no HP regen out of this guy. Every single right click is going to do some serious damage to How.
Yeah, but at the same time, he has a poor man's shield and actually pops his ultimate.
Ooh, Dendy in trouble. He is being chased, but they're going to use the Treant armor. Pops another refract as well. Is he going to fight How? He's going to wait a second, wait for the trap to break. There's the trap break. Meld goes down one hand on How. He gets stunned again by Moo. That might have been a mistake from Dendy here, and he gets killed. Oh my gosh. A little greedy from Dendy. He didn't check their items or something, but he thought he could get away. He broke the Meld just to do the damage, and then they killed him. They didn't have detection. He literally could have waited that out and not died.
Yeah, that felt a little bit sloppy. I think he could have just walked away there. Or, I mean, just kept invisible.
Yeah.
And let the tree armor do its work, but I think he got nervous that maybe Moo was going to breathe fire on him again.
Okay.
And thought that might kill him, so he tries to run away, but just choosing an inopportune time. And, man, you don't often see this. A TA dying this much mid, especially since they haven't even brought one dust over at any point.
Yeah, no kidding. He does finish his treads at least, but I'm not sure where his bottle is, actually. Did he lose the courier or something? Or did he bottle crow back? Is it top? Okay, it is top. Dendy's bottle is on the top lane, so it'll swing back towards him. Having the treads helps at least because he's got good attack speed, but man, dying this many times is the mid lane, not expected for Dendy.
Yeah, fly bird, fly. Moo actually starting to catch up now in CS. It was terrible before, I think. He had like 14, 15 more than him, but now now the difference is only about 6. And that's represented in the fact that Dendy has died twice now. And maybe just playing a little bit too aggressively considering the fact that he's got refract, and they're going to go in on him again.
He will get stunned. Actually, there's a haste rune as well. Soul Assumption is used, and Dendy goes down again. Sentry Ward in place. No way of him surviving at this point. He's just getting way behind. Banana's actually going to pressure forward. They're going to try to take the mid tower, actually. It's pretty low, and with the Dragon Poison, this does 20 damage per second. That's going to break right through that living armor. And the tower is definitely threatened to fall. If they can take out the mid tower right now, this is going to open up their ganking possibilities quite a bit. This is the most important tower to defend Roshan for the Dire team. On the downside, it's going to be harder to get solo EXP for the Dragon Knight later on. And Navi's going to trade for the tower top. So if they can take this right now, at least they'll equalize on gold. But looks like they're going to give up on it as well.
Yeah. I don't even think they can take this tower top right now. King J, he's picked up his bottle now. He can just spam the rocket flares and able to save that tower. And just a really good start for Tongfu. All their ganks just seem to be going really cleanly. Like, nothing feels very forced.
Yeah.
And nothing feels obvious. When you do a gank, sometimes it just kind of feels like, you know, the other person knows it's coming, but Dendy doesn't even see these coming at any point. Maybe just a little too, he feels a little bit safe with Refract plus Meld and the tree armor.
Yeah, who knows? I'm not really sure what it is. I haven't even been checking Puppy's tree armor. Maybe it's been off cooldown. Maybe he's been using it already. Maybe he's been using it to heal towers instead of putting it on heroes. I'm not quite sure. But he's level 5 now. He's got 2 levels of Leech Seed, so he can use this offensively if needed. And we can just honestly focus on how great Enchantress is on ganking, though. It's such a great ganking hero. The power of the creeps early game, it's a lot of HP. It's a lot of disable, and if you can get those set up, it's just fantastic. Crow's going to steal Breathe Fire, actually. Pretty good nuke for them in the early game. Like we said, they don't have that much damage. So grabbing a 300 damage AoE is a good way to start things off.
Yeah. And actually, Navi's going to assemble for this bottom tower here. They feel maybe they're a bit behind, but they do have the better team fight. So they are going to try to get onto this tower. And Tongfu actually starting to rotate their entire team over. Moo's got a TP, though, so he can wait for a bit. King J actually walking down, checking the rune.
He's going to be really limited on mana if he TPs in, though. If he TPs in, he's got a hook shot, and that's it. That could cost him a lot if there isn't a Arcane Boots on somebody. There is actually an Arcane Boots on Visage. Great Shackle Shot to start things off, but we're not going to see a follow-up. A little bit of Hellbear Smasher clap on Navi, and will they retreat? It kind of looks like it.
Yeah. And this wasn't good by Navi. They try to group up his 5 and take a tower, but it looks like they aren't going to get a whole lot, and that's a lot of commitment, considering that Moo's gotten free farm during this entire time. And also, they didn't panic. Banana just continued to farm. Everyone just kind of kept in the jungle. They kept 2 or 3 heroes around this area, just in case a team fight did happen. But for the most part, no commitment from Tongfu.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So Tongfu now going to group up and push bot themselves. Clockwork has gotten back down here, so he'll be able to do a hook shot as well as a cog. No bottle charges left for him. And the bot tower will be taking damage shortly. Dragon form about halfway through, so it will do a lot of poison damage actually. Urn picked up on Enchantress as well. And Curl with some HP regen now. This tower looks not long for life though. They're going to fortify this. They'll buy them a couple seconds, but is Navi going to be able to TP fight? So Wand and a Treads on Dendi, and Havos does not have a TP, so I guess they have no plans of defending this here. He's going to try to trade with the top tower, but without the TP scroll, there's no way that they can team fight this.
And actually, Banana going to go up here at top. Are they going to initiate at him? How Han Sin gets the dagger off, and Banana's coming up with the troll creep. There's the net. It looks like the boss is actually going to die.
Oh, he does go down. Actually, a team fight on the bot lane as well. Clockwork's going to go down. Dendy taking some damage. Can they catch anyone else? Soul Assumption. Dendy refracts just in time. So they trade a bit there. They also lose Puppy on Tram Protector. Puppy gets killed. So they lose 2 for 1 there. And most importantly, that's a Gyrocopter going down. So not a good trade there for Navi. They also didn't take a tower. So they keep losing advantages here.
Top tower is under attack.
Yeah, that was actually fantastic too. Just the gank by Banana at top. I mean,
yeah.
the best thing about the Spectre is as soon as you commit one hero to gank somebody, then the Spectre can haunt in, and you never see it coming. It's just such a fluid ganking hero.
Yeah, and especially with the skill build, he only has 3 levels of Desolate, only 1 level of Dispersion. His right click is really powerful. There's very little way for Gyrocopter to survive that. If he would have had a TP scroll, he might have actually lived that, now that I think about it. I guess did they have a Troll Net? Is that what it was ganking with?
I think the Desolate would have been enough to nail him. But
it's hard to say. Better than running away, at least. But
yeah. You can really do anything in a situation like that. I think he would have died, but Phonic actually, Navi gonna group up his 5 again. Dendi doesn't have a TP though, and he's not actually running down quite yet. He's kind of actually close to no mana. Sunshine does get shackled, doesn't land. Dagger's gonna fly, and Navi feels like they're trying to force this again.
Yeah, that was a little aggressive by Phonic. He even used Wind Run to run forward there. A Puppy can give him Arcane Boots, and he's got a bottle as well, so no problems there. Dendy's shifting over. He's got 900 gold in the bank, so I'm sure they were hoping to have maybe a Blink Dagger up on Dendy at this point. Normally, I mean, if they were pushing with a Blink Dagger, he could jump on one of these support heroes a lot easier and try to blow them up, but now he's just playing a typical mid hero that doesn't have much farm, and actually picks up a Bracer, so it looks like the drum build is on the way for him.
And the birds, they're going to land. Moo's actually going to pop his ultimate and a double damage rune and a Shadow Blade. Puppy going to get initiated on by King J.
There's a call down as well. A bunch of AoE damage there. Puppy gets killed immediately. King J almost goes down. 100 HP. There's the Haunt. How's going to turn and fight. Havos goes so low. Dragon stun as well. Dendy running for his life. He is so slow. Another soul
Oh my god,
but a great
Kuroki's going to
refraction.
steal the hook shot.
Oh man.
Goes in on King J, but I think he's going to pay for it with his life.
And Dendy might get killed. There's another stun. Impetus scores the last hit. Now Phonic running for his life, 3 seconds away from a Wind Run. But we're going to see Puppy respawn. Maybe Banana might go down. He's going to put his heal back on, so unlikely for him to fall. And Tongfu is not done pushing a stun on Phonic. A bit of a mistake here. He used Wind Run at least. And there's the leech. He's going to buy him some HP as well. Shackle shot, power shot. He's going to fall. Bit of a mistake there. Puppy now
Puppy's
as well.
going to go down too.
Oh my gosh. Navi just making mistake after mistake here. 12-2.
And there's the
game.
GG.
Oh my gosh.
At 15 minutes, 12-2, an absolute slaughter. Did you see, highlight though, Kuroki steals the hook shot,
I missed
and
it.
then he goes back in on the Clockwork,
To get the
manages
kill?
to pick him off,
Okay.
but then he dies immediately to Hao. Tongfu with absolute decimation of Navi. It just felt like Navi was trying to force things too much. The gank seemed to be going the way of Tongfu early, picking up 1 or 2
far.
kills.
Well, more than that, man. Dendi died 3 times in his mid-roll. I mean, they were really hoping that he could get a core item up and then they could push with this, but it just didn't work out at all. Like, they ganked him so effectively, and I think it was just a little bit too much carelessness from him, perhaps. Maybe if they had an Observer Ward checking high ground. I mean, Enchantress is going to gank your off lane. He's going to gank your mid-rolls. I don't know. But Navi doesn't want to play this game anymore. After they fed those 3 kills, I felt like it was pretty much over.
Yeah. Once they started dying 1 by 1, I think that was just a sign of a team starting to collapse, and they're like, well, this game's over. nobody had farmed on their team at that point. Even Havas had died so many times.
Yeah. He
I
did
mean-
okay in his lane, but I mean, he had a long ways to go before his BKB, and all the nuke damage on Tongfu could blow him up easily every fight. So, man, they absolutely get shut down. I think their draft was honestly kind of okay personally. I don't know, it didn't seem that weird. Just laning problems from them.
The thing is, when you decide to try to push into S5 that early, the defending team will always have the advantage in that they only have to send 2 or 3 heroes to pre-position themselves.
Yeah.
So then the last 2 heroes can TP in and show up, and it doesn't just completely destroy them. Because if like all 4 heroes TP while the tower's being hit, then you go in one by one, and the TP timer takes so long. But if you only send 1 or 2 away and then just have 3 or 4 sitting down there, like in preparation, then it's going to be so easy to defend towers, and it just felt like they were trying to force things way too much instead of letting things happen organically.
Yeah.
But we don't want to talk about the game too much. We do have Ben Merlini Wu here. Now. And LD, he keeps calling him LDZ, so we'll pass it on to our analysts.
Merlizzi and LDZ back at the analytics desk, and well,
Why'd you take off your hoodie?
it's getting hot in here. That game was a
That game
beatdown.
was ridiculous.
I mean, Banana has been such a playmaker for Tongfu. Yesterday, he went, I believe it was like 5-1 and 8, 5-1 and 7 on Jakiro in like the first 9 to 10, maybe 12 minutes of the game. And this game, great movement on that Enchantress early on.
The thing about Spectre is if you lose the early game versus him, you're almost certainly just going to lose the game. It's very similar to a Phantom Lancer. And like usually you just have like a kind of a rough early game, like first 20 minutes, and then Spectre starts contributing team fights, getting his farm on, and then starts dominating. But if you lose like first 10 minutes, fall behind in kills, fall behind in towers, like Navi did, it's very easy. Like you just have to call GG. There's nothing you can do.
And that lineup scaled really well. It wasn't just the Spectre. It was a DK with a very fast Shadow Blade, Clockwork, who's still a huge nuisance late game. I mean, anyone except the until they got BKBs, he's going to continue to be a problem. And Visage, a support who scales quite well with the familiar. So late game Spectre, it was already starting to get towards late game. That last fight, I think they lost like 6 or 7 heroes in a row.
Yeah, they just kept going. It was T1 tower all the way up to the past the T2.
Navi just kept on respawning and just kept on finding kill after kill.
I feel like they did a really good job at pushing towers though. They like they moved around the map really well. Tongfu, they got a lot of kills and they pushed towers down and they protected Spectre. They did pretty much everything that they needed to do early game, and I felt like their just map movement and control around the map was just very spot on.
They take game 1. Of course, it's a best-of-2 format. So end of the day for Navi, it's just 1 loss, not the biggest deal in the world. They'll have to bounce back here. I felt like Navi's draft was maybe just not the best at creating early game pressure, and up against Spectre.
It wasn't that great anti-push either. I mean, Rubik is decent with Fadeable, but if you don't get levels on that, like TA, what are you going to do versus pushes? I mean, Tree Living Armor is strong for healing up towers, but in terms of like actual 5-on-5 team fight, it's not that good either. And then Gyrocopter, he needs his farm. And I don't know, it just felt like a little not robust, as AC would say.
Where's AC when you need him? But that's going to wrap up game 1. We'll take a quick break, guys. When we come back, we'll be live with game 2 of Navi versus Tongfu, your second day of Group B action for the Alienware Cup, brought to you by Alienware, MasterCard, and DPM Interactive. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're about to start game 2 of Tongfu versus Navi. Can they come back after that absolute beating in game 1? I'm not so sure, but if you remember TI2, there was that one game where they got stomped like crazy, and then they had smiles on their faces the next draft. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, didn't they get like 17-0 or something by Night Stalker? And I think that was actually against IG.
Yeah, I think it was.
David, was it against
versus
IG?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
That was the game before the play,
Yeah.
I believe.
So
then they were like, oh, well, Juggernaut. And everybody's like, what? Juggernaut? What is going on? Anyways, we're into the draft. We can hop into the game now. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, by the way. This is Purge. I'm here with Blitz. I don't have a hoodie anymore. No longer the hoodie cast.
shout out to Nixino Moon. See, I did it.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, so Navi this game, as stupid as it sounds, they can't do what they did last game.
Really?
You can't just group up as 5 and decide to prematurely push without any ganks. As I said before, and I can't stress this, if you group up as 5 and you just try to push down a tower like that, you're essentially going into a funnel and letting the other team set up. They get more farm time out of it too. If you're not able to push that very quickly. And Navi with their lineup wasn't able to. I mean, how many tower pushers did they really have, right? They had great creep clearing ability, but they didn't have anything like the Dragon Knight with the poison or anything like that. So, and they had like a tree that was level 5. You're not even going to have the luxury of having his ultimate. So
yeah, he's basically a really, I mean, he's got living armor and he's got a really, really weak disable that does some heal. And that's all he can impact. And they knew that they were probably going to lose that game because Gyrocopter, yeah, sure, he can maybe out-farm a Spectre, but, I mean, with Spectres already ahead, the hero just does so much more damage and ganking and stuff like that. So, first pick out of Navi is going to be a Darkseer. That's going to allow them to pressure any melee heroes that Tongfu ends up working with. They end up banning the Wisp once again, still fearing that hero. And Navi with an interesting Alchemist ban. I'm not too surprised to see the Visage because Visage was used to pretty great effect in the last game. The extra burst damage that that support hero throws out on carries and heroes out of position is just really strong.
yeah, and also maybe not wanting to pick it first and not wanting to give it up in the latter 2 heroes. So good ban by Navi, I feel. It really feels like Tongfu, for the most part, are targeting a lot of Funix heroes, in fact. Maybe thinking that his pool is a little bit limited. Taking out the Wisp and the Bat Rider. Last time, I think they also pick up the Clock and they banned, what is it? I can't actually remember now off the top of my head, but we have seen Funix play quite a large variety of long lane heroes. So Windrunner actually was one of the ones I've seen him play fantastically on before.
Yeah.
But not having a lot of success that game. What I want to talk about, Kevin, is that Enchantress play. Creating space all over the map, just flawlessly rotating from lane to lane, being able to set up ganks, and they just felt so seamless every time she did it too.
Yeah, she may have gotten a little lucky with some of the creeps. Like, she had a Centaur and Ursa Clapper to set up on Dendi. He got stunned by the Dragon Knight. The Centaur was in position to get his stun off, and then the Clapper to throw on extra damage right when his refraction wore off. I mean, it was all perfect from Banana, and scoring that kill on him twice, I mean, the first one was the most crucial, because at that point you can snowball a little bit, but they even got a kill on Funnick on the offlane. I mean, it just created space in all the areas they really needed to. Clockwork did as best as he could top, and it didn't really matter, because all he really needed to do when the team fight happened was get a Cog and a hook shot off on one hero. And once they started it off like that, they can pick off a hero, it's a 5v4, and Navi's just in a losing fight. So, I mean, they played that game perfectly defensively, and they reacted perfectly as well.
Yeah, that positional play by Tongfu in general seemed seamless. That's the kind of Tongfu I wanted to see. They played more objective-based Dota this time too, being able to take towers with kills, being able to accurately chase and read situations. That felt like a really clean Tongfu, as opposed to what we saw yesterday when they played against Orange, and they just felt kind of out of sorts. They were disarrayed a lot, but really good play by Tongfu in general, and this time they're going to pick up the Gyrocopter and the Dragon Knight. What do you make of this?
Well, Gyrocopter's pretty good against Darkseer offlane if you can lock him down a bit. Rocket Barrage is so fantastic versus DS because we don't see DS going for Magic Immunity or Magic Resistance very much lately. It's been a lot of mechs, actually, so if he has pretty low HP, or only 900 or so, Rocket Barrage can do like 600 magic damage at level 4, so can really eat through that hero by a lot. And Homing Missile as well is really good at disabling him, so as a whole, Gyrocopter's a pretty good carry against him, so it's so far so good for Tongfu.
Yeah, going back to that Dragon Knight, that tower pushing ability by Dragon Knight just seems brutal to play against. And the stun initiation, it never really feels like people are prepared for it, does it? Like once he pops the Elder Dragon form,
Yeah.
the stun just seems to kind of like fly across the map.
Yeah, the range increase that it gives you is really effective, and it's a huge stun duration. It's 2.5 seconds, which I believe is equivalent to a level 1 roar, if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't do as much damage, of course, but I mean, it only does 25 damage, so it does virtually none. But the stun duration is huge, and the cooldown is also pretty low. So really great skill, and all-around strong hero on Dragon Knight. He can do a little bit of everything, but not really excel super hard at one thing.
Yeah, it just seems like a really safe pick in general. Tongfu kind of going back to their strengths. This time, though, Na'Vi, they're picking up some of their big ones. They've got the Darkseer for Funnick. That should be a lot easier than the Windrunner game was last game. And they've got a Chen now for Na'Vi and Puppy. We've seen what he can do on that hero.
He can control creeps.
He's pretty good at that.
Micro them effectively.
He does some micro stuff.
Yes, we saw some great micro out of him at TI2 as well. Played Lycan a few games. That was pretty fun.
That wolf
That Lycan
block.
play. He like killed the
rune.
regen rune or something,
Yeah.
and then blocked him in by the secret shop. It was so cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can handle that hero. So will be fun to see his sendbacks and things like that. Chen is a little bit weaker now maybe than he was in the past because the Test of Faith, his second skill is now linked to the sendback, so it won't be as strong early as it was in the past. And it costs a bit more mana, which oftentimes will require the Chen to go for Arcane first, but even still, the hero is still very powerful. Not necessarily as strong in the early game as Enchant. I think Enchant is definitely a better early ganker because you can control more creeps, but the mid game of Chen is a lot stronger defensively. You have an AoE heal, you can send back allies, and the Test of Faith nuke is still pretty good.
Yeah, and also the heal, you know, it's global. It hits anywhere on the map, so it can turn around ganks really easily for the other lanes. And although you don't put out as much damage as an Enchantress does later on in the game, just because Impetus is going to be more useful, the nuke early is a lot more reliable. The test of the send back is actually huge as well. If you can surge somebody back, send them back, they should almost always be safe. So, and on top of that, you know, you actually get to keep your creeps.
Yes, they stay with you.
Yeah.
Unless your opponent gets like Hand of Midas or Helm of the Dominator or something.
How troll
right?
would that be if like 3 people on Tongfu just got Helm of Doms and a Midas, and then as soon as Puppy enters the fight, it just like completely turns around its animal farm?
Wow, that sounds like a really good strategy to neuter a hero that is a 4 position. And probably doesn't contribute much other than that. I think that, I mean, that's actually a mistake.
How sick would that be, though?
But think of a Puppy's micro. His micro is super good. If all of a sudden he only has to control 1 hero, he's perfect, you know? Like, that's whatever happens to me. It's like, oh, my creeps died. Well, now here comes attack moving and all this other stuff that I couldn't do
Here we go,
before.
Kevin. Just bear with me for a second, okay?
Okay, I'm bearing with you.
Tongfu, they get 3 Helm of Dominators, okay?
Okay.
And then Na'Vi, they see that, they're like, you know what? We're not going to let this slide. They get 3 Helm of Dominators.
Oh, wow.
So once the fight starts, Puppy sends his creeps in.
Why are we stopping at 3? It should be 5.
Okay, everyone has a Helm of Dominator, and then it's just kind of like a control battle.
Can we get a
You
Spirit
just
Bear?
ignore the game.
Can we get a Spirit Bear with a Soul Ring and Helm of Dominator, so one team will have 6 Helm of the Dominators?
Yeah, you just... Oh yeah, that's right. You can use the Soul Ring to artificially clone yourself some mana.
Yeah.
But that would be... How cool would that be? I want to see somebody do that. If
a
you
good
do that in
strat.
a pub game and you submit it to me, I'm going to force Kevin to cast that.
Okay, guys, get on that. It's important. Okay, banding out. We have an Enchantress band. Great hero counter to Chen. It's the Helm of the Dominator strat, like we were just talking about. Enchant is a little bit cheaper than a Helm of the Dominator. Clockwork banned out as well. It was used effectively by Tongfu in the last game. And hard carry bans by Tongfu, they're scared of Spectre, and they also don't like dealing with Weaver, apparently.
Yeah, especially since they don't really have any lockdown disables aside from the Dragon Knight. And judging by this, it doesn't really look like they're too interested in picking up another one. And Weaver's one of those heroes that if you kind of give room to, it just absolutely devastates you.
Yep.
You know what hero I want to see? A Storm Spirit
Why is
by
that?
Na'Vi. No disables on Tongfu.
There's a Shadow Demon.
There's like
hero.
a stun.
And Shadow Demon's
There's
been
one
getting
stun.
like first round banned recently, but made it all the way to the 3rd pick stage. Do they play? Yeah, Dendy does play Storm Spirit a moderate amount. We do see him pick the hero sometimes. It can happen. How does he match up versus Dragon Knight, though?
Pretty decently, actually. The Breathe Fire is a little bit annoying, but Tongfu actually, hold that thought, they're going to pick up a Magnus. That should be their off lane.
Huh.
I like the nerf that Magnus saw. Just the damage nerf from his ultimate. It makes it feel like the ultimate still has game-breaking ability, but in the early game, it doesn't just one-shot heroes anymore, where you ultimate, you do your combo, and then no matter who it is, they're dead.
Yeah. Unless there's like a Queen of Pain or something, they can blink away. But even still, like, you're going to take the skewer damage and the shockwave. It's pretty scary. If they can phase him out of the lane, it will hurt him a lot, because getting into level 6 is so important. But, wow.
Oh god, I'm so good at this! Dendy gonna pick up the Storm Spirit. That has to... I mean, it just feels perfect for a situation like this.
What about
in all
Magnus, though?
seriousness.
They got an extra stun now, man.
I guess, but you can initiate on the Magnus, especially since he's gonna go for that quick Orchid build. and you can essentially render him useless. And
Assuming you don't die.
yeah, so for
Or he
Dendi
gets
to die
disrupted.
here, he's gonna actually, even if Dendi is the first person targeted, the best thing about Storm is that he soaks up the attention, and it makes it so that whatever hero that Havas decides to play is gonna have a really easy time.
And he could be sent back as well. If Storm Spirit jumps in, Orchids pulls a Magnus, gets sent back, he can still TP back to a tower, and then Ball Lightning back into the fight and get there pretty fast. So he has some potential to do some tricky things as well.
Yeah, it really feels like they were like, okay, you know what? We're going to go for more of our playstyle. This is a really aggressive playstyle by Na'Vi. They've picked up a lot of heroes that kind of dive in, a lot of team fight. So I'm actually a lot more excited to see this in Tongfu with a lot of team fight, though. I mean, it's going to be difficult for Na'Vi to fight this. The Elder Dragon form, Shadow Demon, obviously to disrupt, Magnus's ultimate, and Gyrocopter's call down. There's a lot of combos here to be dealt with.
I like the Darkseer Jakiro combo though. It's so easy. Like, you throw down the AoE stun and you can vacuum on top of it. Same goes with like Dual Breath and other things. A Doom pickup from Tongfu. They're gonna hard counter pick the Storm Spirit. Is this a jungle Doom?
That's definitely a jungle Doom by the looks of it. You have to essentially jungle Doom unless you want to do like a support Gyrocopter, which we have seen in the past, but it doesn't seem like that's going to essentially be the case here. So Doom going to be picked up in return for Tongfu, and man, that is an annoying hero for Dendi to deal with.
Yeah,
Even if he gets a BKB, just absolutely shuts the hero down for quite some time.
They could go for a Lincoln Sphere this game. If you look at the abilities of Tongfu, they can break a Lincoln's with Homing Missile, they can use Dragon Knight Stun, which is unlikely, Shadow Demon Disruption or ulti.
Oh, I love this pickup.
There's not that much there.
The Naga, it's going to be a good counter initiate, so if Dendi gets stunned or doomed or RP'd, then the Naga just runs in, sleeps, and then they can reset the fight. So let's introduce the lineups. This time I will be reading off the Tongfu lineups, leaving Na'Vi for Kevin. We've got
bro.
King J playing the Magnus, San Sheng, our 4-player, so definitely going to be playing the Jungle Doom by the looks of it. We've got Banana, the All-Star, for my MVP actually for the few games I've seen him, going to be playing that Shadow Demon. Mu going to once again be playing that Dragon Knight, and Hao going to be picked up by that Gyrocopter.
And for the Radiant Team Na'Vi, currently down 0-1. We've got Funnick playing Darkseer on the bot lane, Havos playing Naga Siren, Dendi is going to be playing Storm Spirit. We've got Kuroki playing Jakiro, and the last player is going to be Puppy on the Chen. Now, one thing about the Jungle Doom I'd like to point out is that they don't really have very strong supports to defend this guy. If he is jungling, they could pressure him. He does have Sentry Ward, so his camps getting blocked is not going to be that big of an issue. But if Puppy decides to pressure this Doom at all, he's honestly going to have a tough time jungling.
Yes, Kevin, but Ice Rod recently upped his armor, making him an unstoppable beast.
He has 0 right now. What's going on? Is this normal?
Yeah, but now he doesn't have negative.
Oh,
That's
he
the
went
key
from.
here.
Did he go from -1 to 0? Is that what happened?
Yeah, now because the Agi bumps him up,
Uh-huh.
so now he doesn't lose that. And so now Doom's unstoppable. This plate mail, like it looks like he's wearing all this armor, and he looks like a god, but he's actually
not a
like just
fact.
like the most pithy weak.
He's made out of white bread that you buy at the store for $1. I mean, it's
I think white bread would give you more protection than what Doom has apparently,
Okay.
considering he has negative armor.
Battle begins.
man. Let's see where Puppy goes though. They blocked 2 of his large camps, so the first large camp and this large camp. They also blocked this medium camp. So he's going to be in some trouble here. The pull camp can give him some big creeps, but in a second he's going to be like, okay, there's obviously nothing here.
Oh,
There's a
and
sentry
Kuroki's
on
gonna
Kuro.
find this.
Wow, they saw this coming big time, and the first one goes down. Are they going to predict the second one is the question. They might want to save the second sentry for an observer ward, though. They're pinging towards the magic bush, but the